Alright, y'all see the title. I am 99.9% sure that all of y'all are approaching mastering your songs the wrong way. I rarely say anybody is doing anything wrong, but just hear me out, okay? So when most people master their songs, they're putting all of these plugins on and the mix is just getting louder and louder and louder. You're already messing up. Of course it's gonna sound better as it gets louder and louder, right? So you're putting stuff on and it's just getting louder. So you're already messing up there, but I know that these limiters have gain matching ability. So maybe you'll say, oh, well, I'm doing this and I'm gain matching it. But you gain match on this limiter and then you have 3 other limiters on your mix. So how can you gain match on all the limiters? Some of them ain't gain matched, okay? They're not all gain matched, right? So it's not working out. You feel me? And this one, you have to, bring both of these down at the same time, but it's a convoluted mess, okay? And I love that they have gain match on here. That is very helpful and useful, but it is not as helpful and useful in the stage of mastering as we think. Because also, what if you're EQing? Here I'm boosting the low end a little bit, but what if you're doing some, like, I don't know, crazy mix bus EQ that I see all the time where people are boosting top end like this, which is cool. That could be the vibe, Now the volume has also changed there, and we're not gain matching this EQ, and then there's gain match here, but no, okay, no, that's not it, okay? That's not how we do it, right? So this is what you want to do. This convoluted mess of all of these plugins on your mix bus and things getting louder and brighter and clipped and EQ, whatever, like, it's confusing you. You don't even know what your mix is anymore. It's totally changed. What you want to do is you want to mix your song, okay? Don't worry about mastering. Forget about mastering. If you mix your song well and you use references to make sure you're not going off the deep end and you don't have crazy like levels all over the place, super crazy low end that's going to stop you from getting loud if you want to get loud, or your vocals are super crazy loud, like, use references when you're mixing, okay? So you're not going off the deep end in a way that you don't want to go off the deep end. You do that and then you print a mix. I like to call it 0.0, and that's what my mix is right here. So I'm going to play this current mix, which is also like has some mastering plugins on it, and then I'm going to play my 0.0. So we'll just start at, well, we'll start at the verse, whatever, it doesn't matter. So that's the level of the mix with the mastering plugins. Now if I hit I, we're going to hear my 0.0. Obviously it's way lower, right? So what I like to do is I like to limit myself if I can get away with it, but these plugins are for my mix. So anything that I've done up here in these 5 slots are mix bus plugins for my mix. Anything in these, well, there are 4 slots here. If I really need to use a 5th slot, then I'll get rid of this Pro Q. But I like to just limit myself to 4 slots for mastering stuff. Ozone itself is a whole bunch of plugins in any way, so like I can just get away with, I'm fine with that. You feel me? Like I don't need 10 plugins on my mix. Like that's crazy. Well, it's not crazy, but it's oftentimes just not what I need. These plugins up here are mix related. This EQ just wanted the mix to be a little bit brighter, and this black box in parallel at 12% just wanted that energy and that kind of condensing of the black box. That's it. That's the only thing on my mix. And this EQ right here, it makes the hook a little bit brighter. So if we click this and turn the automation on, and the second hook and in the final hook, the mix gets a little bit brighter. That's the only thing on my mix bus. Now, these 2 plugins right here are for mastering purposes. So what you want to do is you want to bounce or print your mix and bring it in the session. Okay, so now you have a true A/B of your mix versus your mastering session. Now this has turned into a mastering situation. And what I also love about this is I can look at the waveform and I can see visually if certain things are too loud. Like if the kick is way too loud, you're gonna see it here. If the vocals are way too loud, soaring over all of the music in a non-musical way or whatever, then you're gonna be able to see that, okay? Like you're gonna be able to see it, and you're going to be able to make that adjustment to your mix. You want to go back to your mix and make adjustments that need to be made so that you have a better mix that's prepared for whatever mastering may do. So what I do at that point is I begin mastering my mix. The level may come up here, I'm doing that, but what I'll do is I'll get my mix to a certain level LUFS wise, and then I'll bring this fader down, right? If I play this mix, we'll play from this hook right here. And then if I hit I, this is now my session, my mastered mix. This is where I'm going to manually level match the mix. And it's kind of easy to do because you can just add up your gain. Like I've turned this up 10.5 dB and then I've turned this up negative 0.5. So that's 11 dB right there. And then here we got so 11.15, right? Y'all are great at math. You're engineers. 11.15. So we can turn this down. Let's just go for, well, I just did this quickly off the fly, but let's just go for 11.2, right? And then we've got a little bit of EQ here. So it's a very subtle amount, 0.1. So we could just do 11.2 and we'll A/B and try to manually see if that level sounds about the same. So let's start with 0.0 and then to this master. Pretty close. So now from here you get a true A/B of your mix, what you actually intended to do, and the mastering, what the mastering is doing to your mix. And the great thing is you're still in your mix. So if you need to go back and readjust things, you can go back and readjust things and print a new 0.1 because that's all your stuff before you send a 1.0. 0.0s, if it's a 0 in front, that's all for me. You know, that's my stuff that I'm trying to figure out on my end. But if you need to print a new mix, in this case, how I do it is I would do that and then I would click here in 0.1 and then I could print a new mix. So I would just, you know, make a new playlist. I like to keep all of my stuff down here of what I do for the session. Anyway, now you can have a true A/B of your mix versus what the mastering that you're adding to your mix is doing. And you could say, oh, I had this amount of punch in my mix, and now that I'm limiting it or clipping it this much, that's gone. And I want to see how I can maintain that or improve on that. Because the goal for the mastering process is to have your mix sound exactly the same, but louder or better, you know? So if you don't even know what your mix sounds like anymore because you're putting all of these mastering plugins and making it louder, you've totally lost the plot. You've done all of this work for your mix to sound amazing for you to just master it and crush it and smush it into nonsense. So this is the approach that I recommend taking so you actually have a true A/B, because what is a mastering engineer going to do? They're going to either A/B their master against your mix or your limited reference, right? And oftentimes they're beating your limited reference because your limited reference is fucked already because you fucked your mix up. And they're going to listen to your mix and they're going to be like, oh man, I'm going to use his mix because his mix sounds way better than his limited reference. There's more dynamics, there's more transients, more punch, and I can masterfully make this much louder while maintaining all of that, maintaining the integrity of his or her mix. So you want to take that approach as well when you're mastering your own stuff, all right? And then when you're done, obviously just bring the level up back to where it is and bounce the mix. Easy day.